welcome back to Field Hockey with Hatfield here from the Plex, and we're so pleased to be joined by a special guest. He is the head coach at Princess Anne High School in Virginia Beach, and he's got a decorated field hockey background, which takes you to a place in the 804 area, I believe, or certainly another part of the state he'll tell you about before he got to Princess Anne, where the Lady Cavs are certainly making some noise there in field hockey. We got a chance to watch them last week in their impressive win over to Kempsville. We say hello to Coach Don Warner. Coach, thank you for stopping by. How's life treating you here as we're getting closer to moving that calendar from September to October?
You know, it's fun. I mean, now we're getting to the point where there's a little bit of excitement between every game. Got something to work for. We've had a good opening September, but October is going to be a challenge. So it should be exciting.
For sure. Now, as we look at your background, we'll get into your key players, and including one in Sydney Raguini, who has been just spectacular for you so far this year. Tell the folks about how you got involved with coaching field hockey. And I understand, if I did some research correctly here, you're a graduate of Eastern Michigan. Is that right?
Yes. Good friends and I started a club up at Eastern, played field hockey up in Canada. So road trip up to as far as Quebec and back. That ended up turning into a great experience for me. Then picked up an assistant coaching position at Radford University. Spent 6 years there. Went back to school. Picked up my teaching certification in health and PE. Spent 26 years in Richmond and St. Catharines. Came down to Virginia Beach a year ago to find a teaching job, coach PA. And I've been here ever since and loving it. So it's been a good 12 months. It's been fun.
Certainly you had a decorated program there at St. Catharines, and I know you were part of looking at some other things in your background, AAU Junior Olympics. You've been involved with the sport in so many different ways. What was it there that was so unique about the experience at St. Catharines? And then to kind of follow that up, what drew you to Princess Anne and the situation that you're with now at PA?
St. Catharines gave me a great opportunity to just make myself a better coach and better teacher. And then the opportunity to pick up and go back to public school as a public school grad, talking to Brummage, who was here as a SAC coordinator, some friends of mine out on the beach. They're like, why don't you just come down here and see what we can do? And I love it. Princess Anne is a great facility. We got a great coaching staff, excitable kids. They're enthusiastic, they're athletic, they're intelligent. They're buying into the system. They're buying into what we're trying to teach. They're buying into what we're trying to coach. And to see the progression on the field. Kristen Wheeler, the former coach, was phenomenal, setting me up for success. So, yeah, I just get a lot of support. And the parents, community, athletic department, coaches, ground crew, it's a great place to work. It's a great place to be.
Yeah, for sure. And they've got a passionate fan base in so many different sports. And I know you're quite familiar with being a veteran coach who's had a lot of wins in his career. You see in girls basketball, a guy like Darnell Dozier who's got all these championships and what he's done there. What are the conversations like with you when you speak with other coaches in the building, maybe him, for example, because there's a lot of very, very bright minds in that building, and you're one of them.
You know, it's fun. Last week, the men's basketball coach spent probably a good 5 to 10 minutes just hanging out on the fence line watching practice. And so the first opportunity I got the next day was to come by and ask, what'd you think? How are we doing? How do we look? What could we have done? And so that kind of dialogue that we've got our new football coaches got an amazing background. And having those guys walk the hall and the women walk the hall that have those kind of experiences, PA's got a great staff. It's fun. It's fun to be a part of it.
Yeah, you mentioned not just Darnell with his state championships, but Corey Coe for the men's basketball coach there, who's got a background going to when he was at VCU after he played at Deep Creek, and he's done a nice job there. And Phillip Sims, the record-setting quarterback who played at Oscar Smith before his stops in college at UVA in Alabama, and now he's trying to get the program back to where it's competing at a high level after it was in some struggles for some years. As we look at your program this year at Princess Anne, we've got some of the results and the schedule coming up flashing on our screen here. Sort of fill the audience in on what this group is like, because we know there's obviously the giant in the district, which is Cox, which is 124. I think it is state titles, so many in a row here, five consecutive. You've got some other good teams across the district like First Colonial and Kellum and fill in the blank, and you're one of those contenders as well. Sort of what's the identity of this group, and what do you like, some of the strengths of this team that people are going to go check out for the rest of the year?
Well, I think the big thing perhaps for me is just establishing my version of the culture that we're looking to create here at Sept, and say moving forward, how do we become who we want to be? So over the last 12 months, we've had opportunities to meet, to get together. Some of the kids I'm learning now in the off season as well. And we've got a good selection of freshmen, sophomore, juniors, and seniors. We've added a Saturday morning practice. We're a little mobile in that we've got a grass field to practice on, but our games are on field turf or AstroTurf or on the road. So we're flexible. We're practicing in different facilities. We're practicing on different surfaces. We're just slowly trying to figure out who we want to be as a program. That takes some time, but I think we're moving forward in the right direction.
Yeah, certainly. And I get the chance to watch her game and call it the other day against Kempsville. Sydney Raguini, she's a special talent. I know she was really good for you last year as a sophomore. Looks like she's going to be an all-region, dare I say, all-state caliber player for you this year. Hat tricks, it's probably not going to be her only hat trick. Tell me about what makes her tick and so different from others out there and sets her apart.
We've got a couple hockey players that are critical to our success. We've got 2 D1 commits right now. We've got Sarah as well going to Richmond. We've got Sid at JMU. We've got Mac in the back line locking everything down. We have and so I don't really want to, I love Sydney. But if I key in on Sydney and our opponent keys in on Sydney, if we need more, we just need more than Cindy. And so Sid is a phenomenal influence in our program. She's got incredible stick skills. She's passionate when she plays. She gets wrapped up in that moment. She goes to goal unbridled. I like to think we're deeper than 1 and deeper than 2, or maybe even deeper than 3. And I think that's going to be our strength coming through the season. The idea that our bottom and our base will build toward our top. I believe in bringing everybody up, right? Okay, rising tide lifts all boats. So the quicker we can get those that are farthest from the Sids and the Sarahs of the world closer to the Sids and the Sarahs, the deeper we become.
It's interesting you say that, Coach, because I think you know this, the most successful teams, whatever sport you're talking about, whether it's field hockey, softball, baseball, football, basketball, fill in the blank, spring, winter, fall, I think a lot of them are where your best players are your best leaders and your hardest workers, the first to show up, the last to leave, if you will, that type of mentality. And watching both Sydney and you mentioned Sarah Ellis, who's committed to Richmond, who's also a very, very special player for you. It looked like if they're not scoring, they're willing to set their teammates up to score. And I've seen them work together well in tandem on some of those stretches in your game last week versus Kempsville. How big of that is not just a matter of you got this many goals, but you're getting assists or you're setting someone up to get that play or have that opportunity because you're drawing 2 defenders. How much is that a big critical part to your success and this program growing this year, having a chance to go further and further?
I think it's very critical. I think first, agreed. When you're 1v2, 1v3, you're seeing those double and triple teams. We know we got somebody open. It's just a matter of getting the ball to them. And then, as we all know, the quickest way to move a ball is to let it go and let a teammate catch it, because we can get a ball in a space quicker than we can run it, and we can get a ball in a dangerous space quicker than they can defend it. So one of the things we're working on right now is just trying to figure out how do we find that space the ball's going to next, and how do we get into that next space as we play in the now, and trying to figure out where do we want this ball, how are we going to get it there, and who is going to anticipate what's happening in the next moment first. So we're spending some time just working on where we want to be next to help the Sids and the Sarahs out.
Sure, absolutely. A few more minutes here with Don Warner, our guest here on Field Hockey with Hatfield from the Plex, as we get you set for the upcoming games for the Princess Anne Lady Cavaliers, who've got themselves some nice victories over Lansdowne and Cape Henry, as well as Kempsville here recently. And as the schedule's going to move along here in the teeth of the slate, what are going to be some of the keys for your program to win some of the tougher games on deck and to be a threat? I know you got some interesting out-of-district games as well. I think I saw Washington Liberty coming up at the training center in Virginia Beach. In early October, you've got Great Bridge, who's got our recent Chicken Parm Field Hockey Player of the Week with Lily Johnson. I know they took a loss on Monday to Grassfield, which was unexpected to some, but they've won a few state titles in a row here. So you've got some tests even outside the beach and different styles. I'm sure as a coach, you love, all coaches love this, whether it's, field hockey or different sport, when you see different styles and philosophies to get you ready for the rigors and the playoffs that will be coming at the end of October and early November.
Oh, 100% agree. Having the ability to not only play in district, well, first, everyone knows the Beach District's amazing. The Coxes, the FCs, the Kellums, hopefully someday the PAs. We just played Kempsville, that was back and forth. Beach hockey is, in my opinion, the 5A district is just loaded. So you're going to get a challenge every single day you wake up and go out and play the game. And then having the ability to play someone from Northern Virginia and their style of play, or playing the Great Bridges, just adds to our experiences. And as we overlap our experiences, we should be able to come to a common agreement of how we want to present ourselves moving into late October. And then it's just a matter of getting a goal or two, stopping a goal or two, and seeing what comes next.
Awesome. And our couple of remaining minutes here. Any players you want to mention that we haven't highlighted? Obviously, we talked about, the headliners are certainly players like Sarah and Sydney, but I'm sure that every team has some unsung heroes or even a couple of the underclassmen that are stepping up, making some progress as the year goes along. Any other names we should know about for your squad that people should keep an eye out for the remainder of the season and the playoff stretch?
Yes, but again, it's like we are the PA community. And so we support each other, we build each other up, we are equal in our praise and we are equal in our critique. We've got some freshmen. Reese Clute in the back line looks really good. Lydia Sanzone as an upperclassman is leading in the midfield. We have Max Short, who just anchors everything in the backfield. Those that don't score the goals, those that don't get the stats, sometimes you're thinking to yourself, how important is it? Well, as you said in the video, we're, for lack of a better way to explain it, we're pitching shutouts. That's not happening at the front end. That's happening at the back end. So that's happening in the depth of the midfield. That's happening left to right, front to back. We're just trying to build a team. And with the team, we're trying to build a program, and we're trying to build a culture. It's been fun. I admit it.
Yeah, it sounds like it definitely is for you. And for those unfamiliar with the playoff situation, the format, have you all gotten the intel? I'm guessing much like it's been with various sports for spring, winter, fall, like we've got football coming up as well and basketball in winter. Is it an 8-team format? And you mentioned 5A. It's tough because Great Bridge is moving up there. You've got Cox, you've got First Colonial. Is it an 8-team bracket? The quarter, semis, the last two go to state still? Is that how it's working?
Well, we also have Kellum. So Kellum dropped in. So it's the top 5-6 programs battling out for the top 4 to get the chance to make to the semis. It's going to be tough. But we got a month to go. We got plenty of league games to play.
Yeah, for sure. And in that last month here, I'll get you on this one, Coach. We appreciate your time here. What are you wanting to see out of your team? What are kind of the bullet points that you're hitting with them? We've got to check this off, this off, this off. Certainly, I know you all hit on execution and playing for each other, but what are some of the things that will you feel be separators in some of the close games that are sure to come, and perhaps even games that require time beyond regulation?
We got some simple things like our first line of defense. So if we can get our forwards goal side of the ball, we're going to be a little bit more difficult to beat. Taking restarts quick, keeping our opponent under pressure, putting them on their back foot instead of their front. Finishing, stretching the field, playing as long as we can and as wide as we can. Trusting our teammates, maybe 3 or 4 touches, and then rolling the ball into positive space or finding somebody to create the 2v1s. That's not rocket science. I don't work for NASA. We just try to keep it simple, keep the ball moving, and defend as a unit. And we'll see where the ball bounces. Hopefully we get a little bit of luck.
Well, he doesn't work for NASA, but he's a pretty smart cookie, and he does work at Princess Anne High School, where he not only teaches, but he coaches field hockey. Don Warner, so kind to give us some time here with field hockey with Hatfield from the Plex. We look forward to calling more of your games because, as we've shown on the screen, you got a bunch of them coming to the Regional Training Center with our crew from Hometown Sports Productions with Chuck, Nick, and the gang. Thank you so much. All the best to you and your team, and we look forward to documenting and certainly following your squad.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Our pleasure. Don Warner, our guest here with Field Hockey with Hatfield. We'll take a timeout and come back with more. We'll also reveal our top 10, the latest Hatfield top 10 with field hockey, all right here from the Plex. Stay tuned. But right now, we'll take a quick commercial break and come back with more.